Cheers, my friends. Got a brand new mug at the Goodwill today. All right. You know, of course, my favorite libation in there. It's a 2020, my friends. Oh. All right. It's been a thread going around. Vinyl Tag 2020. My gosh, welcome to the future. Where has the time gone? It's 2020. You know, when I was a kid reading sci-fi novels and watching movies, this was the time that all that stuff was taking place. You know, and another thing that hit me this morning, I've got my regular morning ritual. You know, I wake up, coffee, breakfast, and then I take my vitamins and supplements and medicines. And I've got a little container where I keep everything, and I've got everything marked on the lids to help me find it in the mornings. And I just saw these and I just laughed. Pot, acid. You know, and I was just thinking how things change as you grow older. And it's like the generation that used pot and acid to escape from reality now takes potassium and acid-reducing antacids to cope with reality. Oh, man. Oh, well. Enough of that. Okay. On with this. Vinyl Tag 2020. I'm a little late getting into it. As usual, life happens, things happen, and I just haven't had time to do a video. And my gosh, I've got my questions here, and these are some good questions. I don't know who brought these up, but I had to do quite a bit of searching and arranging and getting ready for this, but let's just get right to it. It's going to be a long one anyway. First question, best find of 2019. 2019 was a great year for me. I've found hundreds and hundreds of records at exceptional deals. But some of the best finds that I've gotten this year, went to a local junk shop and had the remnants of an estate sale. They had a bunch of jazz records for $1 a piece. These are original Blue Note. Lee Morgan, the Sidewinder, and the Cooker. Got these for $1 a piece. But my favorite was going to a local pawn shop. I mean, I live in southwestern Virginia, basically out in the sticks. I've been wanting this album forever and ever. And one day, I went to a pawn shop just a couple of miles from my house. Just a few miles from where I live, and they had a box of records that someone had pawned. And they were selling for $1 a piece. And they were all late 60s, early 70s psych and rock albums. And this was in there, so I got it for $1. This is definitely my favorite album of the year. All right, next question was, what's your favorite album of 2019? Well, I kind of hate to say this, but I did not buy any new releases from any artist in 2019. Even though I bought hundreds and hundreds of albums, there were none that were contemporary. But this was a good year for reissues. And here were some reissues. Here were some of my favorite reissues of this year. Dehumanizer by Black Sabbath. So happy that they reissued this. And this Record Store Day, Procol Harum's first album in mono. Killer stuff. A couple of other things in the CD realm. This is the 50th anniversary, of course, of Abbey Road. And I had to pick up the Giles Martin remix. And Dukes of Stratosphere. Surroundabout Ride. It's a good one. And then this massive thing which I got for Christmas this year. Unburied Treasure by Gentle Giant. This has got everything you'd ever want to see or hear from Gentle Giant. Trust me. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this set. So, yeah, those are my favorites from 2019. All right, next question. A novelty record. All right, I just had to show this. Some of my favorite Sesame Street records. Monsters. A musical monstrosity. Love this album. Monsters. Okie dokie. All right, next question. An homage cover. A cover that pays homage to another artist or another record. These two. This is Martin Denny, Exotica, Volume 2. And this is Shangri-La by Robert Maxwell. Can you see the similarities? I actually believe that that's the same model on both on both of these albums. But hey, dig that, man. I love these Exotica albums. A lot of them had these beautiful women on there. All right, next question. All right, B-side deep cut. All right, this is for you psych guys out there. You psychedelic guys. You know, I know a lot of you people are really into SRC. I've got a couple of their albums. I've got a comp CD, but here is a promotional record of Black Sheep by SRC. And wanting a B-side deep cut, B-side, Morning Mood. This is a non-LP instrumental B-side by SRC. So if you can imagine the music on the SRC albums with no vocals, hey, that's a deep cut and a B-side. Killer. All right. Something funky. Man, this album, Kool and the Gang, greatest hits. This was like a greatest hits album before they actually even had greatest hits, as far as I know. But man, funky stuff. More funky stuff. Jungle Boogie. Oh my gosh. Good Times. Rated X. Man, you want your funk? You got it here. Next question. All right. Weird Shelf Buddies. These are records next to each other that make an odd pairing. Okay. Just breezing through my records, I found these. Just for whatever reason, these were in one of my shelves beside each other. This is Andre Kostelanetz and God Created Great Whales. It was sitting right beside Everything's Archie by the Archies. Now this is an odd pair of shelf buddies. All right, next question. I Was There, a band, an artist I've seen. Hey, David Live. This concert was recorded in, I believe, 1974, 75. David Bowie at the Tower Theater. Now, I did not see this particular concert, but I saw him just about 2 or 3 days afterwards in Charleston, West Virginia. Went from Philadelphia down to Charleston, and I saw him on this tour just a couple of days before this album was recorded. Trust me, that was a spectacular concert. A friend of mine was his. A friend of mine that went with me. It was his very first big concert, and all through his life, he kept saying, you know, David Bowie set the bar high for concerts. I tell you, man, amazing artist, amazing concert. All right, next thing here. Wish I had an OG copy, but I have a repress. Okay. I've got represses of these, or actually I think this is like a European, this maybe even be a bootleg, and then this is a recent repress, 13th Floor Elevators, Psychedelic Sounds of, and Easter Everywhere. Good luck ever finding originals out in the wild at an affordable price, but for now I'll just have to live with these. But they get the job done. Alright, next question. Oh, a discography you own. It says you own all major releases of this artist or most of. Okay. A complete disc. I don't have everything by this artist. Alright, it's like I've got a lot of discographies, but I don't have everything that these artists put out. But I picked Ozric Tentacles. This is a couple of the vinyl LPs that I have of Ozric Tentacles. This is Strangitude. This is most of original Ozric Tentacles were never released on vinyl. They were always released on originally on cassette. Now, their first 6 albums were released only on cassette, and they were available either through mail order or at gigs. And I was just so lucky that I actually got one of the original cassettes from like 1985, 86. Love the way they did the artwork in there. You know, it folds out to a little, comes like a little flower thing there. Ozric Tentacles. Alright, well, then as time went on, the original 6 were eventually released on CD in this box set. Vitamin Enhanced Ozric Tentacles. But Kellogg's Corporation, or General Mills, or whatever the company was that put out Kellogg's Corn Flakes, had them to withdraw this particular box because it so resembled one of their products. Imagine that. So, anyhow, VHS tape from like, I think 1991. Yeah, concert from 1991. This is one of their DVDs. Ozric Tentacles live at the Pong Masters Ball. I've seen Ozric Tentacles live 3 times. And I won't go through all of these, but all of this is Ozric Tentacles and related compact discs. They've had several offshoots. Nodens Ictus. You know, Eat Static. And of course, Erpland. But, so there you go. They have, in recent years, reissued many of the old CDs on LP. But I can't afford to buy all of those, so I'm happy with the CDs for now. So, next question. Alright, a unique center label. Here's another one for some of you psych guys and some of you that like private press stuff, oddballs. This is ID. Where Are We Going? And I love the center label of this. Let me, if I can get it out here. It's got this nice drawing. Let's see if you can see that. ID. I think that's in focus. Yeah, that's very nice. So that's definitely an unusual label. Okay. All right, next question. Okay, oops. What happened? Okay, there we go. Not planned. Okay. Pre-band, an album or band that features someone who went into another band or got famous. All right. Blackjack. I think this is late 70s album. Blackjack. And a couple of members there. Right there. Bruce Kulick. All right, Bruce Kulick. We know he went on to, I think he recorded with Alice Cooper. He became a member of Kiss for a while. And they had a lead singer. His name was Bolton. Michael Bolton, which later changed his name to Michael Bolton. Okay, I don't know how good you can see that picture, but yeah, Michael Bolton, Bruce Kulick. There you have it. All right, we're getting on down here. A musical book or movie that you'd recommend. Hey, Beatles people, or even if you're just like books, Here, There, and Everywhere. My Life Recording the Music of the Beatles by Geoff Emerick. And Howard Massey. The Forward by Elvis Costello. This is a rock and roll fantasy come true. I mean, think about it. Geoff Emerick, just fresh out of school, studied whatever, electronics and studio engineering, whatever. First job, Abbey Road Studios. He was assigned to assist George Martin in the production of Revolver by the Beatles. Could you imagine? And the very first thing he did with the Beatles and George Martin was to work on the engineering of Tomorrow Never Knows. Killed a book. Killer. There's a couple of cool movies. Rock and Roll High School featuring the Ramones. Definitely recommend that one. And PCU. This is not really a particularly great movie. It's kind of along the vibes of Animal House, but it's got George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars in there and performing a small concert. They even do George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars doing a Prince cover. Hey, how cool is that? Right there alone is worth the price of tracking this one down. Alright, next question. An underrated album. I've shown this one before. Alien, Sons of the Universe. 1979. Produced by Ron Dante. Ron Dante produced Andy Kim, the Archies. He was a singer. You can hear him, back in the late 60s, the king of bubblegum pop. But this album here is kind of a disco era space sci-fi album. But musically, this is a wonderful album. It's kind of like if you can imagine the Archies, some bubblegum sunshine pop with a little bit more of a progressive psychedelic edge to it. That's it, man. I love this album. You don't hear from it very much. You don't see copies. It must have been very limited in its production. This is a white label promo on Elektra. Alright, where's next? Batting average, an artist or band who consistently makes good albums. Well, I chose Vangelis. Okay, Vangelis, Papathinacial. Consistent. This is the Aphrodite's Child. This was the first album by Aphrodite's Child, which featured keyboard work of Vangelis, and he did the majority of the composition on here. It's Vangelis. He had a trio of albums, Aphrodite's Child, which were spectacular. And on through 70s and 80s, he did a lot of soundtracks. Blade Runner is one of his most famous ones. He got a Grammy Award for Chariots of Fire. And even on up until the most recent albums. This one, Vangelis, this is Rosetta, which was commissioned by the European Space Agency to do music for one of their probes that actually landed on this comet or asteroid, whatever it is. And then his last album, Nocturne, the piano album. Man, consistent as a genius. Alright, where am I at now? Let's see here, batting average. Same album, different cover. There's a few of them. This one's pretty common. Chet Atkins, In Hollywood. This is the guitar cover, and this is kind of the cheesecake. The little attractive blonde in the gold lame dress, or pantsuit, or whatever it is. I don't think it's not a dress. Or is it? I don't know. It's tight. Whatever it is. Different covers, same album. Alright, we're getting close to the end. I hope it's not going too long. Let me get this straightened out. Okay. Alright, next question. An album you bought cheap that's now worth money. Okay. Alright, I gotta do some editing. But, alright. Elvis. This is, believe it or not, a first pressing American RCA mono Elvis Presley. And the reason that you can tell it's a first press is because song number 6, side 1, Just Because, they have it listed as PD, public domain, which was an error. And every release after this, they had the songwriter correctly listed. So anytime you find, let me see if I can get, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. If you look close, song number 6, Just Because, it says it's got PD. I hope that's in focus. I bought this for 50 cents. Now, I've not checked Discogs or any of the, eBay or anything like that, so I don't know, but I know it's worth a whole lot more than 50 cents. And this next one, I saw this one at the local record store. $3.25. And this was just 2 or 3 years ago. Okay. Morgan. This is a psych rock classic album on Probe. So you can go to Discogs or eBay or whatever and look to see what some of these OGs are going for. Definitely a lot more than $3.25. Okie dokie. And I think I'm down to the last question. No, I'm not yet. Not yet. Favorite drummer. All right. Favorite drummer. I was thinking of the band Golden Earring. And if you know, Golden Earring is a band from the Netherlands, a Dutch band. Their drummer, his first name is Cesar. C-E-S-A-R. Cesar, I can't pronounce his last name. I was going to show something by him because he is a phenomenal drummer. I've seen Golden Earring live. This is one of those flashy guys, man, you know, do the baton twirls and everything, you know, hit the drum and let it bounce up and catches it without missing a beat. But I don't have, of all things, I don't have any Golden Earring records. I thought, what the heck? I had some, but I must have sold them or swapped them some years ago. But I chose Terry Bozzio. Terry Bozzio played with the band Missing Persons in the 80s. Toured and recorded with Frank Zappa. Oh, you Zappa fans, this is a gold stamp promo of Zappa in New York. This features Terry Bozzio. Terry Bozzio also played with UK and various other groups. Great drummer. All right, Turning 20. I'm surprised that you Beatle people haven't picked up on this one. Now, this album here is 20 years old. I know it was reissued recently, and you know, you could get the LP or DVD audio, but this is my original, made in England issue that came out in 2000. So this album is turning 20 this year. And I'm surprised that you Beatle people haven't done it. Of course, I haven't watched all the Vinyl Tag videos. I mean, there are hundreds of them. I could just sit, you know, it could take days to go through all of them. So, oh, this one was so sweet. Let me see. It come with a poster, and also it came with these cool, kind of mimicking the White Album, these Richard Avedon psychedelic promo photos of the Beatles. Killer stuff, man. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, now I think I'm down to the last question. I think it's time for a little libation. Cheers. Good for what ails you. Alright, last question. Bum, ba, bum. A trilogy of albums. 3 solid albums back to back. Alright. I chose, starting from 1970, 71, 72, Glass Harp. This album's originally on Decca. First Glass Harp album. If you like early 70s guitar rock, this is a trio with phenomenal guitar playing by Phil Keaggy. It's great jams, great solos, tinged with psych and at times maybe a little bit of progressive rock. Sunshine lyrics, gospel tinged lyrics on some of the songs. It Makes Me Glad. Here's another one, Synergy. Man, this is some good stuff. And this was a trilogy. This was all that Glass Harp put out. They had a short run in the early 70s. But here's my trio of albums. Okay. That's it. So, thanks for watching. I hope 2020 is good for everybody and good health, wealth, wisdom, everything that goes along with that. So, my new mug, I love this. Cheers, my friends.